All right, it's podcast time here at Taking Vegas. I'm Chris Hodge. It's Thursday. Got some interesting tidbits on sports right now. What the hell is going on in the NBA? You got lunatics running around, really what it is. Giannis scored 64 last night, went crazy looking for a game ball. Then said he wanted to give the game ball to Damian Lillard. Then said he wanted to give the game ball to his mother. You had a guy that scored his first point that supposedly took the game ball, but then it came out the assistant on the Milwaukee Bucks took the game ball. You getting all this? I don't know if it's something in the water. I don't know what's going on, but I tell you, the NBA is you got some guys running around that league, man, who are really crazy. It got me to thinking, right? Like, you know, again, this is the Taking Vegas podcast, and the main goal of the podcast, obviously, is to make it fun, talk about some sports. Obviously, sports wagering, how to wager correctly, using smarts, patience, discipline. We teach all that when we do Sports Investors Daily on Saturday and Sunday. And then this is just to have some fun, let loose, give out some free picks, and speak about some current events when it comes to sports. But it got me to thinking. So you had the thing with Giannis last night. You had the thing with Draymond Green again the other night. So it got me to thinking, get the top 5 lunatics in NBA history, right? Like, who are the top 5 nutcases that you just watch and you just realize, like, thank God you have that talent because you would probably be a serial killer, right? Like, that's the way you have to look at these lunatics sometimes. And, who are the biggest lunatics? So, top 5. So I'm going to go my order of the NBA lunatics that are out there. Number 5, Dennis Rodman. Now, Dennis Rodman, we all get the cross-dressing and whatever he did, but that guy, when you just looked at him, he looked like an alien. Like, he didn't look normal. And he wasn't the biggest dude, yet he could grab every rebound in the world, right? But, he was top 5 in technical fouls. And you just watch that dude play, and he's not a stable individual. All the tattoos and earrings, whatever. I could care less about that stuff. You just look at him, and you'd be like, this guy wasn't a stable dude. Yet he was able to be perhaps the greatest rebounder in NBA history, right? I don't know who's better than him. Was a great defensive player, but just a lunatic, an absolute lunatic. And you watched what he did on the court. He was brilliant on the court, but you knew he was a lunatic. So that's number 5 for me. Number 4 has to be Rasheed Wallace. Has to be Rasheed Wallace. That guy, he got technicals, didn't even say a word. That's when you know you're crazy, right? He could just look at a referee and get a technical. And he lived for technical fouls too, Rasheed Wallace. You see this dude walk on the court and you're like, this is not a guy to trifle with. I don't want to mess with this dude, right? Because he looks like he could go off and absolutely just smoke someone. But like I said, when you can get a technical foul without saying a word, get thrown out of a game without saying a word, because he did that a couple times, you're a lunatic. You're a lunatic. So let's go 5 Rodman, 4 Rasheed Wallace, 3 has to be Ron Artest. Because he started a riot. Like, Ron Artest literally started a riot. They have a name for it. The Malice at the Palace. They have a name for it. It's crazy. It's on Wikipedia. You can do this. Just Google Ron Artest. It's one of the first things that comes up. He went and beat up fans. Now, this is going to sound crazy. I don't blame him. I really don't. He was, if I recall that situation correctly, he was laying on the scorer's table after something stupid happened, and someone threw a beer on him. What else are you supposed to do? Like, think of your everyday life, right? Just think if you were on the train and someone threw a beer at you. What's happening? Right? That person's getting destroyed. Right? So, yeah, you're a professional athlete. Got to hold yourself to a higher standard. Okay, I understand it. Someone throws a beer at me. He went right into the stands. I remember he smoked that guy on the sidelines too. But Ron Artest, he changed his name to Meta World Peace. Not the most stable guy, a lunatic. And then that brings me to number 2. And number 2 is Draymond. Has to be Draymond. Now, Draymond is a tricky one. It is my firm belief that Draymond Green has won the Golden State Warriors titles. We all know that. He was a big part of those 4 title teams. It is also my firm belief that he lost them titles. Because, look, and all the LeBron James fans out there are going to say this is nonsense and BS, whatever. If Draymond Green doesn't kick LeBron James in the balls in the NBA Finals, that 73-win Warriors teams that team wins the championship that year. No doubt in my mind. They were up 3-1. Draymond got suspended for Game 5. They're going to close them out in Game 5. If everything is kosher and Draymond doesn't do Draymond-type things, like kicking a dude in the nuts, and doesn't get himself suspended, they're going to close them out in Game 5. But they didn't. He got suspended. Then Game 6, momentum. And then Game 7, anything could happen. And Kyrie Irving made the shot. So he literally cost them a title there. He cost them a title. Then Draymond is Draymond. He doesn't learn, right? So then he does what he does last year when he tries to beat up Jordan Poole, right? And you think about it. The Warriors were the defending champions heading into last. Everyone forgets that. They were a good basketball team. This guy single-handedly screwed a season. I'm not saying that they would have beat Denver and made it far in the play. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if he doesn't go and try to beat up Jordan Poole, they probably have a much better season. And you get that team into the playoffs, you never know. But they lose to the Lakers, and they just weren't there. And then this year, just got getting suspended all over the place. He's getting suspended all. And what he did the other night is insanity. He choked Gobert. Oh, this guy's a walking serial killer. He just happens to play in the NBA. Right? But if this guy didn't have that talent, this guy'd be in jail 9 times for killing people. No doubt in my mind. Because, USA, you get to kill 2 or 3 people and then they let you out, and you get to keep doing it. That's the country we live in nowadays, but that's neither here nor there. And the number one, to me, all-time lunatic, boy, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I'm going to say it, was Karl Malone. Chris, why Karl Malone? This guy was banging 13-year-olds. That's why. You know what type of lunatic you have to be to do that? Like, that's what Karl Malone did. So if you're not so, and I believe he got a lot of technical fouls too, Karl Malone. But the stuff that he pulled off the court, and generally looks like a good dude, but you're messing around with underage girls and claiming you don't know, and the girl has a baby or some sort of nonsense. No, you're a lunatic. You're a lunatic. So that's my top 5 NBA all-time lunatics. Rodman, Wallace, Artest, Draymond definitely got to be in there because Draymond is just. They said the other night, I'm glad he didn't choke me. Man, that's what it's come to, And it's really with Draymond, he's not worth the problem. When he was, 6 or 7 years ago, maybe he's worth the problem because, he was such a good defensive player and he was their quarterback for the main part. Now he just might not be worth it. And you got the feeling Steve Kerr's hated him forever. They just won with him, so. And then, like I said, Karl Malone. He's the top all-time lunatic. I mean, you guys could put your comments in and see who's worse or better or whatever. But yeah, that's it. And then last night, like I said, we had Giannis. But we're going crazy looking for game balls now. Just pick up a damn basketball. Something had to be used in the game. What do you care? I want to give it to Dane. Then I want to give it to my mom. Oh, I tell you. Oh, and listen, great game by Giannis last night. He had 64 points. Great job by them. But it is what it is. That's the NBA going crazy right now. We got some football action for the weekend. Saturday NFL action. I'm going to give you a couple free picks here. I'm going to give you one for Saturday, one for Sunday. Also, listen, real quick. The bowls start on Saturday. Now, tough time of the year to gamble. Be very careful when gambling on the bowls because you have opt-outs, you have transfer portal guys, you have coaches that are moving around. Not just head coaches. You have offensive and defensive coordinators moving all over the place. You have some teams with kids that are playing to enhance their stock for the NFL. You have other kids that don't give a hell because, look, let's be fair. Of the 85 kids on each team, maybe 2 or 3 are going to play in the NFL. Yeah, you get to the, Bamas and Georges of the world. That's obviously more, but you get to your I don't know, Miami, Ohio's, and teams like that. Not many guys are going to make it to the NFL. So a lot of guys are playing in their last game. It's a very hard time of the year to gamble. So just be very careful. Do your research. If you want, you can visit takingvegas.com. We break down these games to the best of our ability. We have a 20-game bowl package going. And we feel quite confident in our hard work and our ability to break down those games and get you guys on winners, which is what it's all about. Let's get some free picks for Saturday and Sunday NFL. We're going to go with the under in the Steelers and Colts game, which looks like 42.5. Look, right now the Steelers are just struggling. Trubisky is I don't know if Pickett's the guy. Trubisky's definitely not the guy. You got to play to your defense there. Indy scores points, but they struggled at Cincinnati last week. Didn't put up a whole lot there, and offensively anyway, and because they did score on defense. But this is going to be a hard fought. Both teams 7-6. So this is like a playoff type game because winner there gives themselves a great opportunity. With a few games left to make the playoffs. So it's going to be a hard defensive game. Look for under 42.5 there. Last Sunday I gave you free pick that a lot of you did not like. We had the Chicago Bears for free on the podcast, and again, not many of you were thrilled with that pick, which surprised me because Chicago played really well in Detroit, which is what we said on the podcast. But going to go with Tennessee minus the 3 against Houston. Look, Houston just looked like hell against the Jets, man. And the Jets are terrible. They made Zach Wilson look good. They got the media in New York feeling bad for Zach Wilson now. That's how bad Houston played last week. So, division game, Tennessee 5-8, Houston 7-6. 5-8 team is favored by -3. We'll take Tennessee there. So those are the 2 free picks for the weekend. Under Pittsburgh and Indy on Saturday. And then we have the Tennessee Titans for free on Sunday. So that's going to wrap up the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you agree or disagree, whatever. That's what this is about. Have fun with the all-time NBA Lunatics. And we'll be on next week for another podcast. We'll have some big bowl games, and then we'll get into start break, and we'll be breaking down the CFP Final Four. It's going to be a good one. Have a great day, everyone. We'll catch you back in next week on the Taking Vegas podcast.